And you are?
Okay, so welcome to our second weekly support call. It is April 29th, 2018. And I am very excited that we are doing this, and I'm happy to see some of you coming on live. And anyone else, please put it in your calendar to make it on live because it is not the same without you here. So we miss you. So I'm going to kick off the call with an amazing story that someone else is going to share, not me, of one of my clients who, really inspires me and keeps me on track. So I am going to introduce Simi Eichenstein, who also just joined as a coach. Even
I
though
was going to let people know that.
You said it last week, didn't you?
So anyways, with that, I'm going to let Simi take the floor, and I'm going to start my 5-minute timer.
Okay, I hope to be last. Okay, I'm a little nervous. It's my first time really speaking in public, but I'm going to start. So, hi, my name is Simi. I am just like you. I'm a mother, I'm a wife, and I'm a physical therapist. I work full-time. I was never naturally thin. I am not one of those people who eats food and doesn't gain. I look at food and I smell food and I gain weight automatically. I've been on all types of diets. I've even tried starving myself. About a year ago, my sister gave me a number, and that number was for Sari, my coach, and that is where my life changed and my family's life has changed. In the beginning, I thought of this just as a diet. I just really wanted to shed the pounds and lose the weight that I didn't know started creeping up on me slowly but slowly. And my first week, I remember so clearly getting onto that scale and thinking I had this crazy, amazing number that I lost. And I remember getting on, and I looked at the number, and it was 3.5 pounds. And I was so upset because that week, the same people who started that day lost 7 pounds, 10 pounds, and I was going to throw myself off the chat. I didn't want to go on it. I called you Sari. I don't know if you remember, but I was almost in tears. And I said, I'm so depressed. I weighed my food. I counted my condiments. I drank my water. I did everything the way the guidelines said, and only 3.5 pounds. And you were my rock, and you were my cheerleader, and I kept on moving forward. And I am still on it. About a year later, April 19th, I've lost about 53 pounds. I've plateaued for a couple of months, but what I've lost in pounds, I have gained in many different ways. I've gained new friends. I have a new attitude. I have more confidence in myself and a new summer wardrobe. And if I can, I'd like to give some advice to this from like my story. And sorry, I hope I'm saying this right. Really? Is that a beep already? Okay. The number one thing is change your mindset. You really need to fuel our minds the same way we fuel our bodies with our fuelings. We need to think of this as a lifestyle change and really just drink your water. It's important. And nutrition support should always be on your speed dial. And keep your coach in close contact with you. In the beginning, for sure, more than once a week. And then thereafter, as much as you need her, but at least once a week. And if you fall, get back up. Don't look back, just look forward. And lastly, we really are all here together for each other. And so what I like to say is that the year has gone by, and I became a coach with Sari and Shari's prodding. And I did it because, as you can see, I'm extremely passionate about this program. This program has changed my marriage, has changed my life, has changed my interactions with my children. I am much calmer now. I am more confident now. And with that, I became a coach to give back to other people and to show them and to give them what I feel at this moment. But it also helps me be accountable for myself to help me keep on going. So I just wanted to share this with you. This is my story.
And that was amazing. Wow.
How many minutes? How many minutes? How many minutes?
You had an extra 1.5 minutes left, and you didn't use all your time.
Well, can I just add one thing? I am very competitive. I am extremely competitive. So when I went on that scale the first week, I want you all to know how devastating it was. And I'm really telling all of you out there, don't give up. 3.5 pounds was my first week. And slowly, but slowly, but slowly, I lost it. And I look great. I know people look at me and says, don't lose any more. And I'm not doing this for other people. I'm doing this for myself. Keep moving forward. Don't look at anybody else's numbers. Just look at your own.
Thank you, Simi. And for someone who says that she never spoke before, I don't know. You were really good. You're natural.
Did I talk too fast?
And so now I am very honored to bring on our one male coach that we really, really appreciate your being there for us. So David Spiegelman, so you can come on and I'll shut up.
Thank you, Sari. All right. So I'm David Spiegelman, for those who don't know me. This is my wife, Stacy, over here.
Hello.
And basically, what we kind of decided that we were going to talk, that I was going to talk about tonight was basically the power of choices and the different kinds of choices. If you look at the Habits of Health, which is a great book, and if you haven't read it, you should. But if you look at that, the chapters 3 and 4 are really all about choices. And so what we kind of talk about is that there are 3 different kinds of choices that we make. The book delineates it a little differently than I do, but basically it's what Dr. Anderson talks about in the book is fundamental choice, primary choice, and secondary choice. So and this idea of these different types of choices has actually changed a lot of things for me in the rest of my life, because it's not just true about eating or about weight loss or about anything else. It's actually true about everything that we do in our life. This is just how we do it. So the first thing is what we call fundamental choice. And fundamental choice answers a question. And the question it answers is, what are we, or what do we want to be? That's what fundamental choice is about. It's really an existential kind of thing. What am I? What do I want to be? Okay? So that's what that's about. And basically, so one of the questions that might answer, for example, is, I could say, as a fundamental choice, I am choosing that I want to be a healthy person. Okay? I want to be a healthy person. That's my fundamental choice. Okay? The next piece of it is what's called primary choice. And primary choices are the major choices that we make in service of that fundamental choice. So if I want to be a healthy person, then I have to stop eating candy bars, because healthy people don't eat candy bars, right? So that's a primary choice, is I'm not going to eat foods that I know are unhealthy for me. If I'm going to be a healthy person, I might need to exercise, because exercise is something that healthy people do. So this is something that I have to do as part of being a healthy person, is I have to, so those are all, they're subcategories, but they all service that primary choice of, I am a healthy person. Secondary choices are the day-to-day little choices, little things that we have to do that are in support of those primary choices, which again are in turn supportive of the fundamental choice. So, for example, you know what? Okay, if I'm I've already said that if I'm a healthy person, I'm going to eat healthier foods. So then something comes up, and you know what? I'm a little bit hungry, and there's some candy and sitting on somebody's desk in a candy dish. Well, so in the old focus where I wasn't thinking in those terms, so then I would be able to say, okay, I'm going to grab one of these candies because that way I won't be hungry. But now, well, once I realize, hey, you know what? No, healthy people eat healthy foods, and I don't eat junk. So, and that's because I'm trying to be a healthy person. So therefore, I won't eat that anymore. I make a choice not to eat that anymore. Now, granted, everybody, sometimes nobody's perfect. Sometimes you fall off. Sometimes you make a mistake. That's life. But the point is that that's the kind of choice that you're going to make. And again, that's in service of, healthy, it's a health decision. I might feel like, you know what, I really don't feel like going to exercise. Today was a nice day. It wasn't so nice in the morning. So I wasn't feeling, so I didn't want to go out and run today. But it warmed up a bit. It got to about 50, 53, 54 degrees. And with a sweatshirt, I was fine to go out running. So, but I didn't really feel like running out in the afternoon. But I had decided that, that this is something that I'm going to do. So I went out. So I did. And I went and ran a couple of miles. And that was what I needed to do today, because that was part of that was a secondary choice, in support of that other goal. So those are basically the three types of choices that we make, but we see these things in everyday life. I see it in my Jewish practice. I'm religious, so I have religious practices. Well, if I'm going to be a religious Jew, then I have to do there are certain categories that I have to eat kosher food. I could go ahead and eat something that's not kosher. Nothing's going to stop me, but I'm not going to, because that doesn't make sense in terms of, if I'm going to be an Orthodox Jew, I have to keep kosher. If I keep kosher, I can't eat that stuff. In other areas of life also, it's whatever it is in life, you always are making those different types of choices. And sometimes if you can kind of pay attention to it, keep it in your mind and think about what it is that you're trying to accomplish with it, then that will help you be able to recognize, hey, is this an instance where is this in service of the choices that I'm really trying to make? Is this really what I'm trying to accomplish? And that's really stop, challenge, and choose. It's, you stop yourself when you're doing something, you stop yourself and ask yourself, is this in service of what it is that I'm trying to accomplish? Is it in service of what I'm trying to be? And if it isn't, then you have to decide whether or not you have to challenge yourself and ask yourself that. And once you've decided that, then you have to decide, okay, well, what am I going to choose? So that's what Dr. Ray calls stop, challenge, and choose. But it's the same idea. So anyway, it's been very helpful for me. It's a great idea. And if you want to take a look and learn more about it, I would definitely recommend reading Habits of Health chapters 3 and 4. And I think, Shari, you were telling me that it's actually also discussed in the Living a Longer, Healthier Life in chapter 6, I think.
Right, which is the workbook that accompanies that.
Right. But definitely take a look at those resources, because they go into it more, but that's why we wanted to go over tonight.
Great. Thank you, David. So I was just going to kind of continue with that thought that, David, that we were talking about making choices. We're all faced with choices every hour, every day of our lives. Whether we get up in the morning, when the alarm clock gets off, do we check the snooze button, or do we just jump into our day, right? So that can apply for health eating choices or just life in general. Before we started this program, or, any type of program, like maybe beforehand, we always had that we want freedom, right? So is freedom, being able to eat whatever we want, whenever we want? I guess in essence, it could be viewed that way, but yet that type of freedom is not going to help us long-term with our long-term goals. So we kind of have to make a choice. What are we doing? What are our actions? And what's going to happen as a result of our actions? So we kind of have to think it through. What if we want pizza, but yet say, what if we want to go for a run? You know what I mean? So let's say I want to do a marathon. If I don't practice running beforehand, then I'm not going to be ready for that marathon. And what if I wanted to have I smell pizza in the car. Oh my gosh, it's amazing. I really want a pizza. So what's the most important thing here, right? Pizza smells great, but my goal is to do a marathon. So maybe I should just practice a little bit every day. And having the pizza is not going to really help me, even though it smells amazing and it might get to me at that moment, oh my gosh. But if I don't have the pizza, that might help me with the marathon, because I might run quicker, I might be lighter, I might lose weight, I might feel better. And how do I feel after I eat pizza, and how do I feel after I run? I mean, okay, some people might feel great after pizza, some people might feel like it's bogged down and full of carbs, but after you run, you usually feel good, right? You usually feel like, hey, I did that, I accomplished it. It's something towards my goal that I'm gonna. So a lot of times, let's say the pizza's overcoming me, the smell, and I really, really want it. So our thoughts control our actions, right? So a lot of times we say in our head, I do want to run, but okay, the smell is overwhelming me. We can learn to control our, say in our head, this is what we want. I do want to have pizza, but yet I want to run. So it's what's more important to me. So I can think these thoughts and have the thoughts translate into action steps. You know, a mom, you know, doesn't necessarily want to change her baby's diaper, but yet you want your baby to be clean. So you do the baby's diaper, right? There's a lot of examples of, like, you know, we don't want to really do, who wants to do laundry, yet we still want to have clean clothes. So what? I want to have clean clothes, therefore I'm going to do laundry. We don't necessarily want to do those things, but the things we have to do every day to accomplish our goals is taking those steps. A couple of quick tips: ask ourselves a couple of questions. If the choice in front of me, does this choice serve me well? Is it going to actually help me accomplish my goals? If this choice doesn't serve me, I'll finish up. Why am I doing it? And then focus on our strengths instead of the self-sabotage, right? Like, oh, just one piece of pizza, it's not going to do anything, right? So think about those questions, ask yourself those questions, and that could help you move forward to your goals. And I think we have some time for Q&A, or we have something else.
Can I just make one other point, just because it was something that you had just said, which was a real world example of this, was when I quit smoking many, many years ago. For a long time, I had to tell myself verbally, every time I wanted a cigarette, I told myself verbally, I'm so glad I don't smoke anymore. I'm so glad I don't smoke anymore, because it was part of my self-identification of what it was that I was trying to accomplish. Was I'm defining myself as a non-smoker, and I'm really happy that I don't do that anymore. And that was what enabled me to keep it off. And it's now been nearly 30 years.
Wow.
So, so it's exactly that same kind of idea. Anyway, all right, go ahead.
Awesome.
I have a question about that. So do you have something that you say to yourself about the wonderful smelling pizza?
I'm sorry, what was the question about?
Does David have something that he says about the wonderful smelling pizza, like he did about his cigarette?
So sometimes, yeah, it's a good question. I mean, what you're asking, and you can tell yourself things. I have at times. There are times. I've lost my weight about 5.5 years ago. So once in a while, I do have a piece of pizza. But I do now tell myself at times. I will tell myself, you know what? That's really not something that I want right now. I'm sitting here. I'm sitting here at my table, and there is a. Hang on. There is a this.
Pizza. Ooh.
Oh, I can't see it, so you have to tell me what
sorry.
it is.
It is a chocolate loaf babka sitting right in front of me.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Okay.
Okay, good for you. Yeah.
And what it is from I had on yesterday I had a little taste of it. That was enough. I'm not having any more because I don't want it. It's not. I don't. I do tell myself things like, you know what? There is nothing in that. It was not good enough to make it worth losing some of the gains that I want, that I was trying to get after. And I do tell myself things like that. I don't want it. It's a choice. I don't want it.
Good. Okay, thanks. I just wanted, that's great. So sort of like self-talk, if you will.
Yes,
right.
Very much.
Can I say, right before Pesach, I know I'm not the greatest girl. I finally bought the book. It's been, sitting around, and I got the book and I read it. And I have to tell you that right before Pesach, it really helped me, because we weren't initially on the program itself that, the fuelings, the bars and this and that. We had to really, find our own type of fuelings that was similar. And I wanted to know, it really helped me, those exact words, because I remember I said to myself constantly, okay, I'm thinking to myself, this is what I need or want in order for me to get to the goal that I want. And David, you already are probably on maintenance, and you have gone to I'm still on the 5 and 1. So for me, even that little nibble will get me off the program. So I say to myself at this point, where's my end goal? Do I want to get there? Am I going to sabotage my own self for that minute of pleasure?
Right.
For that sort of like lifetime or moments, like whatever of in the future looking at it, I'm not going to gain my goal that I really want to reach, and that I feel it, but I don't. I have like 10 more pounds that I would want to lose. So what Dr. A said is a very strong thing. The minute you see that babka in front of you or that slice of pizza, you really need to say to yourself, you know what? Stop. And you say challenge, I say think. Think, is this going to get you to that point of where you want to be? And when you finish at that moment of pleasure, will you regret it later on? In 5 minutes or 10 minutes.
Right.
That's how I look at it. I a step further than Dr. A, but I sort of adapted it. But yeah. But thank you, because it reminded me of what you.
Right. I think we
Thank
do
you.
say that. How are you going to feel after you had it, or a day or two later? You're
Can I
sabotaging
say
yourself.
something?
Sure.
Can I say something? Hi, I'm Shoshana. I think life is about consequences. If you have a consequences, you eating that pizza, you're gonna see the consequences is tomorrow. Can you face that? So when I see something that is not good and I say to myself, I go on the scale tomorrow and I gain 1 or 2 pounds, am I gonna be able to handle that? I shove it to the side. That's what I do. It's all about consequences and discipline. That's it.
Good.
So that's
Gila,
how I feel.
Gila, I just wanted to add one thing. I was babysitting for my son, and they had a babka cake sitting out there, much like the one David had out there. And it reminded me of when I used to babysit, and the people used to leave out all kinds of garbage and all these
all the snacks. Yeah.
all thoughts conjured. I'm like, oh, I used to pig out so much, whatever.
Yeah.
And I think I posted in our WhatsApp group, and everyone's like, don't do it. It's not worth it, and all that. It was really cute. But what I did is I took a piece of paper like this, and I wrote, food is fuel. And I put it over the babka cake. And it just like changed the whole everything. It's like, I know there's babka cake there, but it's not food. It's not fuel. It's like a nosh. It's chocolate. It's like, it's not going to help. It just totally, and I don't know if that would have helped a long time ago, but at this point, food is fuel. That's,
That's great. Thank you.
that's like, whatever works for you, right? Anyway, we have about 2 minutes left. Any
I would like to add that for those of you who can't, sometimes we will not make the right choice. Even if we say stop, challenge, choose, and we choose the cookie or the babka or whatever David was showing us, don't beat yourself up. Just learn from that and know that this is not a race. It's a marathon. Always until this program, I was an all or nothing person. If I messed up, it was a bad day, then a bad week and bad month, bad year, and all of a sudden everything spiraled out of control. So, just pick yourself right back up. No big deal. No, beating yourself up, and just learn and grow from it and keep going. That's what we all have to do. And that's that.
Yeah, I think we learned from Terry Miller the concept, give yourself grace. And it's not about perfection. It's about that we're working towards that goal. Right.
Okay, I think with that, I think we should say that, I'm glad that we kept our times, everyone, and this was a great call, and I'm excited for the ones that were not on here to see what they missed, so they'll come next time.
Yay.
Okay, so we do have a coach call at 8:30 for the coaches, so anyone that's a coach should come back on to join us, and that will be recorded as well for the coaches.
The same link.
Thanks, everybody.
The same, yeah. You could stay if you don't want to leave.
Take care.
Thanks for joining.